when you are number one, the buck stops with you. Nobody cares. If someone died in your family, I don't care. I paid you. Where's my deliverable? You don't feel good today? I don't give a.
The only shortcut in life is working with someone that knows more than you.
That's
Like, it's just the most obvious thing, but people forget about it.
I think the first time like a qualified lead came in from just a viral video was like, what? This is a real person with a real business with a real budget that's gonna pay me money to manage their content. That was like, oh my God, I unlocked it. Everyone's like, how do you know so much about AI? Because I try everything. And it's so worth it, because when you find that one tool, you found that Airtable and you found that Zapier and you found that template that you can use to build your system, that has unlocked insane value. But you gotta look.
So today's guest is someone that has always told me an interesting story, a good question, but his story is known, but I think little known. I think there's a lot to uncover here, and you've built 3 startups by the age of 35. Everything you say with so much passion and excitement, and you went from what I know now, from frozen yogurt to Shark Tank to now being a short form media king. So I'm very, very happy to finally do this, Zoli. So thank you for being here.
I'm very excited to be here. It's a long time coming.
For sure. And you know, I was like, I'm going to save Zoli for later, when I'm bigger, when I have more audience, because I think your story deserves it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Let's go into what is driving this crazy entrepreneur behind you. Where did this start? What was the idea that in childhood perhaps, or growing up, that you said, hey, I don't fit the mold. I need to be an entrepreneur. I need to do something different.
You know, when I was a kid, I was always a button pusher. I loved not people's buttons, but physical buttons. I loved technology. I loved trying things. And I was always, at first I would break them because I would press the wrong buttons. My mother hated that. But I was always very curious. I just wanted to know how things would work. And I, in high school, I became sort of like the local IT guy, right? I learned how to fix computers. I learned how computers worked, just like on the fly. Like, I remember the first time I discovered how a file system works, how I could download music from Napster and then burn it onto a CD. I was like, oh my God, I'm a genius, right? Totally legal, but it was amazing. And so I learned how to fix computers, and then in high school, people, the secretary in my high school office was like, we just got a call from an old man, and he doesn't know how to use a computer, and he wants to like learn and whatever. Do you think you could like teach him and like fix his computers and stuff? I'm like, does he want to pay? I was like, and she's like, yeah. And I remember I went there, and I think I was charging like, I don't know, $50 an hour or something, which as a high school kid in 2002 was like incredible money, right? And I started with one, and I became like the local IT kid, and it was amazing. Just like all these like very wealthy people in the community started calling me for computer help because they didn't want to call the other IT guy because they were charging $300 an hour. And I'm like, wait a minute, I could just learn something and do it and make money. And then like, I was always like, it was such a great feeling to just be like, I can do my own thing. I never was like, I worked in camp for other people, but I always hated the administration. I hated school. I hated being told what to do. And just like the thought of like working at a job, just every time I did it, it just didn't feel good. And when I realized like you don't have to do that, you can just do your own thing and be fine, I think that's when it all clicked.
So that was a great insight into how you got branded as the IT guy, right? The community knew you as the IT helper. If you need you call Zoli. And I can see how you got here. But what do most people get wrong about your story?
I'm a very positive person. I usually don't share a lot of the bad, but with all the positive, with all the good, with all the wins that I have, I mean, there was tremendous loss. Like, my parents didn't give me $1. Like, I have gone through crazy amounts of stress and hardships and failures. And like we talk about these 3 startups, we're going to talk about the other 3 that never got off the ground. Like there are so much struggle on the entrepreneurship side. It's definitely not for everyone. Like for a lot of people, it's just so much easier to go somewhere, turn off your brain, do the thing you have to do, get your paycheck, go home and watch TV. That wasn't a life for me. And so it's not for everyone, but when you understand how much struggle it takes, how much hardship it takes, it's not as easy as it looks.
Do you think that's because the entrepreneur life is max out your credit cards, live on rice and noodles, and there's so many people like Shark Tank specifically, you see that episode after episode, a guy that maxed out his credit cards, a guy that went all in, a guy like even Mark Cuban had to do things that, not normal. After your first startup, did you realize that it didn't have to be like that? Or is entrepreneurship always like that?
I think there's always some degree of it, but I think, Alex Hormozi has a great quote where he's like, everyone in your life will always tell you what you're doing is crazy, what you're doing is wrong, it's never going to work, it's never going to happen. And they're right for now, but not forever if you just keep at it. And I remember when I started my entrepreneurial journey, it was, my first startup, it was 2009, right after the financial crisis. And I remember my family, other people would be like, why are you doing a startup? What's a startup? Like this was like Instagram didn't exist yet at this point. Like it was a weird career move. She's like, why can't you go work at Goldman Sachs like your brothers? Like I dropped out of college. Like I was so unconventional at the time that it was just like a wild career choice. And so I just pushed through it. I guess I had this sense of like, I know I can do it. I know I can make it happen. But that first one was very painful. That was a ramen noodles maxing out your credit card startup. And we bootstrapped that company. Oh my God, the amount of sleepless nights I had. But then eventually, fast forward 6 years, we sold the company, right? And it was my first startup acquisition. I was 26 years old. And I was like, oh my God, it worked. Oh my God, it worked. And that's all I needed for the rest of my life, to just be like, you can just do things. You can just build things and a big company will come along one day and they will buy it. Or you can just keep it and keep making money from it. But that locked it in at 26 for me. I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And then when they bought the company, I had to work for them, which was just absolutely terrible. But whatever, you learn, you get your experience, you get your corporate experience. But yeah, that's kind of how. So do you have to go through the struggle? I think the first time you do.
So you kind of answered my follow-up question, which is, would you do it again?
I'm never going to stop. Not just would I do it again. It's what's the next one? What's the next thing? And I don't think there's like the idea of retirement to me is like a very stupid idea. It's like, what are you going to do? Just sit around and look at the birds? Like, contribute to society, be useful. Arnold Schwarzenegger has that quote that his father would say, be useful. Be useful to yourself, to your family, to the world, because otherwise, what's the point of you being here?
Exactly. And I think entrepreneurs are maybe wired different. They're like you said, you hated the corporate. You hated to have someone not dictate, maybe not someone, but just not having the ability to contribute to your fullest, but saying, stay in the box, stay in the lane, stay doing what you're doing. There was something in one of your interviews that really stuck with me, that you said you always wanted to be number 2, but now you're number 1. Because you were okay, the guy being the passenger seat, maybe being the co-pilot. Now that you're the pilot, what shifted?
For my first 3 startups, I was always the co-founder. I was always I was never CEO. I was always COO, CTO. I was never the CEO. Maybe it was a bit of fear. I don't want to be the fall guy if this thing all goes to shit and I lose all the investors' money. Maybe it was a bit of just, I don't know, personal doubt, imposter syndrome. We all have it. But this time around, this is a company that I started sort of accidentally, which we'll get into. It's it's a lot more challenging when you are the guy. There's nobody else. It's all on you. Everybody's paychecks, everybody's everybody's deliverables, everybody's saying it's on you and nobody else, and there's no one to fall on. It's a different shift, but at the same time, you could go so much faster. Now, I still think having a co-founder is a great idea, and I have a great partner now who I brought on who's like amazing to help. But like when you are number one, the buck stops with you. Nobody cares. And that's something that like it doesn't matter what's going on in your personal life. If you're the guy, nobody gives a shit. Like someone died in your family, I don't care. I paid you. Where's my deliverable? You're sick, I don't care. You don't feel good today, I don't give a like that's it. Nobody cares. The buck stops with you. And that is a very hard thing. But when you have a co-founder, it's a little easier to absorb the blow, right? So I would say that's the biggest shift is the ability to move quickly, but also that comes with you're the guy.
What did you feel needed to happen for you to be the guy? Because like you said, maybe you had this imposter syndrome, maybe you had a lack of maybe insecurities. Was it after the third one that you were like, I know what to do? Or what would you recommend the person that is maybe starting a company and maybe says, should I be number one or should I look for number two?
I don't know if it was one moment or anything like that. I think it was just the collective experience of all the failures. I think it was everything we did right, everything we did wrong. Like by the time I started my own company where I'm the only founder of this company, I mean, like I said, my first startup was in 2009, and I was only like CEO of my own first startup in 2023. So what's that, right? Almost 14 years. So I had 14 years of ups and downs in that massive roller coaster entrepreneurial ride. I think I put in enough deposits into the pain bank to be like, all right, it can't get much worse. Let's fucking go.
It's sort of like I like that analogy, and I think it's very profound because people don't understand how many reps it takes to get to where you are. Because since the minute I met you, you were impressive, you were switched on, you were assertive, you had it clear, but you were born clear. You weren't like this 14 years ago, and I think that's a lot of people that have startup ideas don't realize. You don't get there yet. And maybe like your parents or maybe like your friends were like, you want to do a startup? That's crazy. But now if you say I want to do a startup, people are like, of course, Zoli, let me tell what is it about? Like, it grows.
Yeah.
Let's nerd out a little.
Sure. Let's do it.
Because I think that you are extremely connected.
I'm a nerd. That's fine. I say to my wife all the time, like when you look at me, you wouldn't expect it. I'm like a huge nerd. Yeah.
A nerd, but you also like to work out a lot because
that's a new thing. That's in the last 10 years.
Why did that happen? Let's go into like, okay, you were a nerd. When did you think, okay, I need to also take care of my body? Was it because of the stress of the pressure? Was it what brought on like I needed to change this?
So my first startup, I was a lot heavier. I was probably like almost 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And I did not work out. I ate like shit. I just didn't care. I mean, I don't think I didn't care. I think I would just, nobody ever told me. Nobody ever told me that eating fried foods all day makes your brain work badly. Nobody ever told me that if you eat a salad and you don't like put carbs in your body before 12 o'clock, like your brain's going to work better. I just felt like shit. I would need a nap every day. Like I was always tired. And I looked at the scale one day and it was like almost at like 190 and I'm 5'8". I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to be 200 pounds. Absolutely not. That's unacceptable. And I just said, no, we're not doing this. And I went on like this crazy diet. It was called the Dukan diet. It was like, basically you only eat protein for like a month, no fruit, no vegetables. Like you just eat protein, then you get some vegetables, then you get some fruit. Dropped 45 pounds. I looked emaciated. I was like a skeleton after that. And then I'm like, all right, this isn't acceptable either. So I'm like, let's start working out. I got P90X at home. I got a set of weights. I get a ball, and I did every one of those at home programs before I stepped foot in the gym. I did P90X 1, 2, and 3. I did Insanity. I did Body Beast, all the Beachbody, at home workout programs before I even set foot in the gym. And then once you realize that, like, when you work out in the morning, your day is so much better, everything changes. And one day my friend told me, let's go for a run. I was like, oh, I'll do Insanity. I can do this. Oh my God, that humbled me. And I'm like, I want to accomplish this too. So it's almost like you always just got to keep chasing. How can you improve yourself? How can you be better? Because like I said, you got to be useful. And if you feel like shit, you're not going to be useful to the rest of the world.
Is that part of your new startup? Let's go into your new startup.
Okay.
Short form media,
Sure.
I think. And I want to nerd out in all aspects. From you're very heavy on systems. You're very heavy on how you need to start this. And I think people don't realize that you've been working on this behind the scenes maybe for years.
Yeah.
What is step one? Why did you do an Airtable? How did you use ChatGPT? Where did you get to the point where you're like, okay, now I can pull the trigger?
So the thing that triggered the whole agency to start was ChatGPT, actually. And that's only because I made a video about ChatGPT. So back when it came out, I made a TikTok about what you could do with ChatGPT. It was a very simple video, nothing crazy. It was literally in the TikTok app, green screen, like with ChatGPT screen recording behind me. And I'm like, here's how you can use ChatGPT. Make it a healthy shopping list, make it a grocery list, make this. And it like showed people. Got a couple million views, whatever. That was just like a regular Tuesday for me because I just like loved going viral just for shits and giggles, not for any business reason. And all along the way, everyone was telling me, you should do this. You should do this for other people. And then one guy posted it on his LinkedIn, the video about ChatGPT, and we ended up starting to chat. And he's like, "Can you do my social?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm still working for this company." And he goes, "I think you're really good at this, and I think you should do this." And so I took him on as just sort of like a side hustle. And I was shocked that he said yes. I was shocked that he said yes to the number I said for it to be worth it to me. And then I started doing it. But after I had that, I had another client come along 2 weeks later, and very quickly I was like, oh, I can't do this all myself. So I need to figure out a way that I can basically manage this whole thing without like being in the details. So the first thing I had to do was I was editing all the videos myself, right? I was filming, like when I started my agency, I was filming, editing, posting, feedback, client communications, everything. Now, basically the only thing I do is sales, client communication here and there, not day to day, and directing shoots. Like I've been able to outsource most of that. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I spent so much time building systems. So when I had these two clients, I'm like, I need to figure out a system that works. And I tried everything, every platform out there, every tool out there, and nothing existed that could handle the workflow that I needed to do, that could handle production from planning to shooting to editing to posting. It just didn't exist. So I had to build it. And it was through experimentation and a lot of research. And I learned how to use Zapier, and I learned how to use Airtable. And these things scared me before, but like once you get into it, you just realize, oh, this isn't so hard. This is pretty easy. And once you realize the power that you can create this like automatic machine that just like works automatically, you set it up once, you realize that systems are the ultimate form of leverage. You set it up once and it just keeps working for you. It's like content's also leverage. You post it once and you just keep getting views on it. It just works for you while you sleep. And I'm like, that is how we need to scale this business. If I don't have a good system, I'm going to fail because I don't have the capacity to do it. So it was almost out of a need for just more hours in a day that I was forced into the pain of having to build the system.
I hear from you twice now that the market asks for your service. The market asks for your IT. When you were branded as the IT guy, Like, you didn't brand yourself. You didn't go out to your world and say, hey, I'm great with computers because I can burn a CD, or I'm great at going viral. You didn't say that. The market asked you. And I think that's something that entrepreneurs listening have to realize, that you need to have your ears open. But I think your experience as an entrepreneur has shifted you to build these systems, right? And what was step one? Okay, you said, okay, you had one client, now you have two. I need to build a system. They're intimidating. Where do you start?
I would say that when I started, even now, I have no clue what I'm doing, and I think being very honest with yourself that most people don't know what they're doing. I think even in the corporate world, people have no clue. It's a lot of fake it till you make it. I think having that honesty allows you to be really successful as an entrepreneur. But so yeah, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, what's a social media management tool that I can use? How do I run production shoots? How do I operate a camera? What editing software to use? I don't know, but I'm curious, and I'm gonna try them all. And that's what it is. I just kept trying different things. I would try this system, put my credit card in, charge the $50, try it, don't like it, cancel. Try another one, $30, cancel. Try another one, cancel. You got to try. You got to experiment. Like, most people will try something one time and then it'll be like, didn't work. Like, you ever hear someone who's just be like, oh, ChatGPT is not that good? Like, motherfucker, have you tried the newest model? Like, you got to keep trying new things. Everyone's like, how do you know so much about AI? Because I try everything. And it's so worth it, because when you find that one tool, you found that Airtable and you found that Zapier and you found that template that you can use to build your system, that has unlocked insane value. But you got to look, right? The internet's a big place. There's so many different things. So it's just through trial and error, experimentation, until you find the one that works. And once you do, there's your leverage.
I love, and I'm going to highlight this, the fact that you said most people don't know, because I 100% agree. I 100% agree. We are all just trying. And when you can't admit that you're just trying, you will never try. You will never put those 100 hours into ChatGPT just so that it gives you the output that you actually want. And people think, wow, AI will do it and AI will do it. Yeah, but if you don't, I think entrepreneurship is like life. What you give it is what you're going to get back. If you just want to throw things at it and hope it sticks or creates value, it's going to be generic junk.
100%. You know what's wild about that, before you go on? I actually recently had a couple of leads come in, and I always ask, where'd you hear about us? And the answer was ChatGPT. And I think I know the reason why, because I use ChatGPT so much. I'm on ChatGPT at least 2 hours a day, right? Between everything. And I keep telling it about my company, short form media. And eventually it uses that as training data. So when they're asked, what's a great social media agency that does short form video for executives? ChatGPT is, that's short form media. I know this guy for 2 years. He's been using us since day one.
And that is incredible that you said that, because I've been fed so much SEO. And some people say it's dead. Other people say it's not dead. But I actually think the new SEO is training AI systems to spit out your stuff.
100%. 100%.
And the only way to get there is what you're doing, is building and building and building. One thing that I am afraid about is being inauthentic. I have beef with ChatGPT sometimes. When I ask it to do something, I'm like, stop talking to me like I'm this is not a press release. Don't boilerplate me. Don't use emojis. I hate that. I'm not a child. Like, just talk to me in this way or the other way. What do you think is the future of content and what people are doing when you can tell it's to GPT and not themselves?
Well, just on the chat, before we go into the content side, because that's a whole discussion, ChatGPT, there's actually a couple of things you can tell if someone wrote something with ChatGPT or not. And I just realized this. It's the M dash. You know what the M dash is? The double dash?
No one knows where it is on the keyboard.
Right. So like what? And I even put in the custom instructions to ChatGPT, like stop using M dashes. It still uses it, but you got to ask it to take them out. But what was your question about the AI and content?
So how do people keep their authenticity? Because ChatGPT is a genius, but it's an average genius. It's the law of averages. If you ask what do you think is X, it'll give you the average answer. Not your point of view, not your angle, not what you really think, even your crazy idea, because ChatGPT knows the average, not the outlier. How do you think people are going to integrate, or how do you integrate ChatGPT for it not to be the average, but to talk to you like you or be the outlier?
You can't expect it. You can't expect to one-shot every ChatGPT prompt. You have to work with it and get it to your voice. I mean, there's custom training instructions, but like as you start working with it more, it starts to sound a little bit more like you. But again, all these things are tools to accelerate and give you leverage from your own thoughts and brain power. But if you just sort of like let ChatGPT do the work and you don't put any work in yourself and you're just lazy about it, then of course it's going to sound generic. It's like if you're a kid writing an essay with ChatGPT and you don't put any bit of your own insight into it, you're just like, write an essay on George Washington. It's going to give you the generic essay. No, I have some interesting thoughts on George Washington. I think his wooden teeth were cool. I think this, I think that. Give it a little bit of context and flavor. And you got to go back and forth sometimes. It's like a person, right? You can't just assume that they are going to get your brain right away. I mean, eventually AI is going to have a chip that's in your brain, Neuralink, whatever, and it will. But you gotta keep working with it. And once you do, it becomes magical.
Absolutely. Let's go back to content, because I think that you said leverage and it triggered something you said in one of your clips, that content is leverage. What is something that most executives don't get right with content?
I think most executives just don't do content at all. That's the problem. I think the problem is they think they still. It drives me crazy when people say, "Oh, my customers aren't on TikTok. My customers aren't on Instagram." Are you stupid? Like, yes, they are. And if they're not, their wife is, and they're going to show the clip to their husband. I promise you they are. You know how I know that? Because I have an IP attorney that's my client who signed 6 public companies through Instagram. Public companies. What are you talking about? Your customers aren't. I have a 72-year-old diamond executive that's getting millions of views. Your customers are there. And so this idea, and LinkedIn, don't get me started. Oh my God, LinkedIn is a gold mine, and nobody's posting any good content there. If you just post regularly on LinkedIn, your leads are gonna be insane. And just people, they think, nah, I'm gonna do the old sales way. I'm gonna get the call book. I'm gonna get the Rolodex. I'm gonna do it like we've been doing for 50 years. Like, nobody's watching TV, nobody's reading newspapers, and nobody picks up the phone either. They're on their devices. They're on TikTok. They're on Instagram. They're on LinkedIn. They're on YouTube. And if you're not there, you are irrelevant. And they don't get that. They still think the old playbook works. Let me spend 20 grand on a PR agency. We'll get in the New York Times one of these days. You know how many people read the New York Times? An average article gets 55,000 views. 55,000 views is like an average week for my client. It's wild.
And without spending the...
For $0 spend, I mean, you got to pay me, but $0 spend on the actual content. You don't have to pay the PR agency.
I agree with you. I think that I'm in a space where people say no one's going to invest by an Instagram video. I'm like, but I'm not expecting them to invest by an Instagram video, but I do want them to know what I think. I do want to know that, so that I don't have to have the same conversation 10 times. I'm not going to be everybody's cup, but I don't want to have a conversation to find out. They'll know from that video who I am, and if they do want to talk to me or not. And if they do want to talk to me, leads closed. Like it really accelerates the sales process and the leverage, like you just mentioned, that's an incredible statistic. 55,000 readers that really might not even read it. They might even look at the first sentence and then just pass on. Whereas 55,000 views might be 20,000 people or maybe 10,000 people that actually look at it. Whereas 100 of them might be curious and 5 might close. And that might be the 5 people that your client got as a public company. So that's insane.
So, but let me turn it back on you, because I mean, you started this journey how long ago? Like a year ago?
September last year, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what was it that you were like, hey, I got to get into this content game, and what has it unlocked for you?
So I've been trying to start content 4 times, 4 failures or 3 failures and now a success. And I was afraid of being in front of the camera. I was afraid of being myself. This is the biggest revelation that I found, because I thought I had to be like someone else. I was like, I have to be like Alex Homrosi, or I have to be like Grant Cardone. I have to be, and I was like, but I don't even like those guys. You know, I don't want to be like that. And then I was like, oh, actually, in this last time, I was like, let's just be myself. And that was the biggest like differentiator. Nobody wants another or a second tier Grant Cardone. They want me and or him in their full potential. And my area of expertise, or where I am every single day, I find it incredibly empowering, incredibly important. And it's not dinner talk. It's not friend talk, but it should be knowledge that you need to go to the next level. When I moved to Miami, I had the feeling that everyone had a yacht. And I said, there's something I don't know. You know, there's something I'm not getting. Like, why is everybody so wealthy? And I am still like, you know, struggling, and I was doing okay, but I wasn't in that level of success. And I was like, there's something I don't know. So as I started to peel the onion, asking questions, I thought, wow, I wish more people knew this. And that's when I was like, okay, I can start sharing this knowledge. I can start talking about it. And then I've had incredible guests. I've had incredible connections with people that have opened doors, that have opened knowledge, that have levered my position. And I'm an incredibly curious person. So I feel like every day that I do the podcast, it's like I have a personal class with an expert that I trust, that I like. And then I go and apply it. So personally, it's incredibly fulfilling. Every day I wake up, and I really mean it. Every day I wake up so excited to do the podcast. And when people are like, you do 5 podcasts a week? I'm like, I would do 10 if my schedule permitted. And then on the business side, it's changed the way I speak to people, because we can talk about their problem, their opportunity, what they're trying to achieve, instead of my credentials, my stories, my way of thought, where I've been, where I haven't been. Because all of that is levered already into thousands of views, maybe millions of views, thousands of hours. And the best part is, I thought my content was going to be boring, but it's the opposite. I touch a nerve to people where it hurts, where people are like, actually, this is something I need to know. So I'm incredibly grateful. And when people are like, where do you think this is going? I'm like, I don't care. I do it every day.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You said before about being yourself. I know you don't like Hormozi, but he still had a good.
No, I like him, but
okay.
I don't want to be him.
Oh no, I don't want to wear the nose strips and have the beard either. But yeah, he's a little extreme. But I would like his bank account. But he says this thing. He goes, "You will never beat someone else trying to be them, but no one else will beat you being you." And they're your collective shared experiences. I mean, like what you were just telling me before, growing up in Ecuador and being a pro tennis player, and you have such a unique worldview and experience that nobody else will ever be able to put those pieces together. What do you mean you were a professional tennis player for 4 years, traveling like that? How you apply it to business, no one will ever beat you at being you. So why try to be someone else when you're being you?
And it's the hardest thing. And my mother-in-law complimented me this morning, and she said, is it hard to do a podcast? I was like, yeah, it's hard, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, but you're so natural at it. And I thought, yeah, that's what's hard. Being natural.
Yeah.
Being yourself.
Oh, I mean, that's my biggest, that's one of the biggest things I have to work with when I film with clients is just being themselves. So I film with executives all the time. We usually film like 60 clips at a time. But the first round is always a slow start because they're trying to be like their PR version. They're very stiff. They're very whatever. I'm like, forget this gear here. Like, just me and you. We're just talking. And that's why we don't do scripts and we don't like talk to camera because like that emotion, that real, like this is always gonna be what people want, right? In an age of AI, you're gonna be able to talk to robots all day long. Like you want that human connection, that spiritual whatever that's going on in the underscenes. Like you want all that. And that creates the best content. So if you're trying to be someone else, if you're trying to be the polished PR version, people see through that. It's very obvious to see in body language and the way you talk and tonality in your voice. So like, if you can just get someone to be themselves with all the lights and cameras and equipment in the room, that is like 80% of the job.
Absolutely. So let's go a little bit deeper into that. What is your process of turning a 60-minute, 2-hour, 3-hour maybe shoot into a 60-second clip?
So we are very strategic in the way we conduct our shoots. And it starts with the planning. So I figured all this out along the way. Like I just sort of figured this out as I started this. But now we have a real system in place, which is amazing. When a client signs with us, we send them a very detailed onboarding form and we get deep with it into like the type of clients you're trying to reach, the wins in your business, the fails in your business, emotional vulnerabilities, hard lessons you've learned. Like we go deep with this onboarding form. We then turn that into a game plan. All right, what are the 5 content buckets that we can talk about? So if you're an attorney, it's going to be like, maybe your trial experience, maybe past wins, maybe some controversial hot takes, maybe analyzing some stuff that's going on in the news. And we put together a prompt page. We usually put together, between 60 and 80 ideas. And then before we do the first shoot, we do an onboarding call. And we go through them and be like, how does this feel to you? Is this like the type of stuff you want to be recording? And so these are all prompts. They're not scripts. So it's just like this podcast. Like you ask me a question, I answer. Boom, clip, right? And then we try to stick to those 5 different content buckets. We do a couple of outfit changes in between. And so within 4 hours, we banged out 60 clips. And it doesn't feel like you had to remember anything. There's no scripts to remember. There's nothing you have to rehearse because, again, you just have to be yourself. Just be yourself. Because if you have been able to build your business to this point by being yourself and talking to people in boardrooms and meetings and leading a team, like you're good. Like you don't have to just do that. That's what I tell people to do. So a lot of times I tell clients, don't even review all the prompts. I want it to be fresh. But some people like to prepare. So we do the prompts, we shoot with them. And then as we're shooting, this is a part where a lot of people don't get. I'm usually the director there. And so I'm usually sitting right on that side of the camera with my laptop and I'm just typing away notes the whole time. I'm listening to what they're saying. What was like the line they said? What was like an interesting thing they said? And then sometimes it won't even be on the prompt sheet, but I'll be like, ooh, they mentioned Kim Kardashian. Let me ask them a specific question about her. And then we go on a tangent So thinking like what's hot, what's relevant, what's going to resonate with people. We go on tangents a lot, but those tangents turn out to be viral clips a lot of the time. So anyways, I have my doc. We got our 60 videos recorded, get the footage uploaded. We send it to my team. I have one team member who just tags the footage. They just go, this clip was at this moment. Here's B-roll you can use from YouTube. Here's this website that they reference. So when the editors get to it, they have the entire, they have everything ready to go. One click, download. One click, B-roll. They don't have to go hunting and searching. So we're able to pump out this content. We have amazing editors, which took a long time to find, which we can get into. And we turn out, we just pump out these clips, send it to the client's review, and then the system takes over at that point. And at that point, so really from my perspective, I need to sit with the client 4 hours every quarter and they're good. So it's allows us to just take on a lot more people while giving 100% of my attention where it matters, and the team handles the rest. And we've been able to do 500 million views since we started, which is just like insanity to me.
Insane. And you deserve it, because I think you do have a incredible ear to what is going viral, what can go viral, but where does that come from? Is it from consuming loads of...
Oh yeah, I was just addicted to TikTok. That's it. There's no other reason. Honestly, I don't even watch that much now, which is crazy. Like my wife always says to me, she's like, "You don't know this viral trend?" She's like, "You're so behind the times." I'm like, I don't have time to see these viral trends, but she sends me the important ones. It's just knowing what works. It's reps. It's reps. When we've posted like probably like 5,000-10,000 videos at this point. Like, of course we're gonna know what works. Like, you got to mention something relevant that people care about, a celebrity, a news story, have a controversial take, have an opening hook. It's all psychology. You just got to understand what your audience is looking for, and just think about it. So how do you make a viral video? Well, you got to think about the viewer. The viewer is on their couch, they're in bed, it's late at night, they're just trying to get that little dopamine hit, right? They're bored. They want something new. They want something fresh. They want something interesting. And it's an endless feed. It's unlimited content. And they're just going and going and going. So the first rule, and most people know this, is the hook. You gotta hook them. If you bury the lead, nobody cares. They're on the next video. Like, I've seen videos where people will like not cut out the first second where they're taking a breath. I'm like, dude, you blew it right there. You didn't even start and they're already on the next video. You got to hook them in. But then once you're hooked in, you got to keep delivering something. Their brain is saying, why am I watching this video? Is it funny? Is it interesting? Do I hate this guy? Like, whatever the emotion you're trying to go for, you got to give it to them right away and just be like, stick around because you're going to hate this. Stick around because I'm going to teach you something. Stick around because this is going to be hilarious. And then you got to deliver on that. And when you can successfully hook, retain, reward, that's a viral clip.
And you solved something that most people don't produce content because they say, first, I don't have time. So 4 hours in a quarter, you can find it. No matter Elon Musk can do it. So there's no excuse. The other one is you do need to work with professionals. I think this is one that execs know, but need to be reminded of. If you don't work with a coach, if you don't work with someone that knows more than you, I think you'll put in the reps in the wrong way. And what happens in the gym when you do reps the wrong way?
You injure yourself.
You injure yourself. And the same thing happens online. That's what people fear. And I think the people don't really understand the value, or should. I want to highlight the value of working with professionals, because that's what gets you to the next level.
I think it's just a matter of staying in your lane and knowing what you're good at. And what I find hilarious, I'm working with this very successful guy right now. And there was no, like, once he was like, oh, you're the short form expert? Okay, you tell me what to do. Doesn't have opinions. And this is one of the wealthiest people I've ever worked with in my life. But when you realize that someone, like, all day long, I'm thinking of short form video and how to make it better, like, I'm going to be good at it. But you're thinking about real estate deals. You're thinking about other things. Like, I don't know anything about that. I just haven't dedicated the brain space to it. So when you realize that all it takes is one person that just obsesses their life over this one tiny corner of the internet, which is like short form video for executive personal branding, like, I'm going to know more than the average because I think about it for 80 hours a week. That's all I think. I eat, I sleep, I breathe it. And if you think you're going to get the same results by propping up your iPhone and rehearsing a script that ChatGPT gave you, you're out of your mind, and you're going to fail after 3 attempts because you're going to be like, oh, it got 200 views, I'm done.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why you got to do it.
And I think that's the only shortcut in life is working with someone that knows more than you.
That's
like, it's just the most obvious thing, but people forget about it.
Yeah.
Let's do some like short questions.
Let's do it.
Fire.
Rapid
Okay?
fire.
Instagram or LinkedIn? What would you keep if you can only keep one?
Ooh, depends who you are, really, honestly. Oh, I have to delete one off my phone, or like I can never go on the other one again?
Both.
Oh, that's a hard one. I would say Instagram is like the cultural app and LinkedIn is the business app. So if the goal is business, you stick with LinkedIn. If the goal is culture and relevance, you stick with Instagram. But beside the point, short form video works everywhere. So if you're only posting in like on Instagram, like you are selling yourself short. Post it everywhere.
What was strange DMs you got after you posted viral videos that you thought would never come?
Oh, I mean, strange DMs. I mean, I think the first time like a qualified lead came in from just a viral video was like, what? I can just post a video and like business comes my way. That was crazy to me. I'm like, I got to network, I got to meet people, I go whatever. Yeah, just that like this is a real person with a real business with a real budget that's gonna pay me money to manage their content. That was like the first time that happened. I was like, oh my god, I unlocked it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your wife's honest opinion of your reels?
My wife literally has me muted because she's like, I see you too much. I see you all the time. Not just the stories that she doesn't. It's so funny when our nightly ritual is just scrolling through TikTok and until I like pass out after 2 minutes. But like whenever she sees a video of me, she just goes, this fucking guy. And she knows she has to like it. And then she goes to the next one. Always. My wife keeps me humble, very humble.
Let's go more into the future.
Yes.
Where are you taking short form media?
The future. Ooh, that's a big one. Well, I know AI is going to replace us all eventually. And that scares me a lot, but it also excites me. And so my goal in the next year or two is how do I replace myself before somebody else does with AI? And so I started by realizing that my capacity to manage clients is only limited so far. And I always knew when I started this agency, I would turn this into a startup of some sort. I just didn't know which one. And as I built the business, I realized that I can utilize other services, other people, and put it all together in a nice sort of format and take everything that I've learned and all the shit I've eaten over the last 2 years and put that into an app and make it a magical experience for people that could bring down the cost tremendously. So we're working on this app called Studio. Right now it's a podcast studio booking platform, which you can find podcast studios near you. You just walk in, have a conversation like this. Great studio, Uncommon Studios Miami. Definitely check them out. And you just you walk in, talk, and we have like a really attractive pricing model on that where you can just go in starting at like $9.99 a month. You get an hour in the studio, you get your 8 short form clips, you get a long form clip, and like you're good on content for like $1,000 a month. It's like a really good offer. But we're still using human editors there. You know, we're still using human planning. There's a lot of humans in the loop. But very slowly we're chipping away and like AI is taking one part of a time. And so my goal is to create an agency in your pocket where you open up your phone. It doesn't even have to be an app necessarily. It could just be like your guy you text. This is just like, yo, I need a video on blah, 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 blah. And you want to do an in-person studio? Do you want us to AI generate the video? Tell us what you want to do. And like, boom, taken care of. Oh, you want us to post this social? Done. And then like the API posts it all in the background. So my goal for the future of short form media, replace myself.
So cool. If everything ended up today, all your success, what is something that you would be the most proud of?
I was talking to my dad this morning about this. I think I'm most proud of the ability to just be myself and not give a crap what other people think. Honestly, that has been the one common theme that has just went through everything. That's just like, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I think is right and what I think is best for me and my family. And I'm going to do that. And that's gotten me into a lot of trouble sometimes, but it's been my one, and I still look at people, I'm like, how sad it is that they just care what other people think. What's this guy going to think? And they're so limited because they just can't get out of their own head. And it took a long time to like self-reflect that like this was like a quality that I've had, but just the ability to just forge a path forward, just ignore the noise. You hear it, you try to push it away, and I still hear it. I still hear it every day. but my ability to block it out has become stronger and stronger. And so just being myself, pushing forward, doing what I think is right. That's what I think I'm most proud of. It's not a viral video. It's not a sale. It's not a startup specifically. It's I think that ability.
And that's great advice for the struggling entrepreneur, right? It's being able to hear but ignore at the same time. What would you give another advice to someone that's Zoli at 18? What would you tell someone that's starting to become an entrepreneur that maybe is afraid, maybe has imposter syndrome, maybe lacks confidence, but has your type of energy, your type of hunger? What would you tell them?
I'd say you got to lean into the pain. You got to lean into the fear. And that's a very hard thing to teach. But, you know, a good example is I got into cycling recently because I hurt my ankle. And then when you're approaching that bridge, you're like, oh, this is going to suck. But if you just slow down, it's going to suck even more. But if you start pedaling harder and you start going harder, it's no time. You're over that bridge. But if you just let the bridge take you, right? It's the same with surfing or running around. When you see a challenge coming, that's when you go, grit your teeth. This is going to hurt. This is going to suck. But if I do it right, I'm going to be on the other side and on that downhill and going 30 miles an hour very quickly. But if you don't lean into it and you acknowledge like, yeah, this sucks. Yeah, this is hard. Yeah, this is scary. Okay, thank you. Got it. Stay on the goal. You stay on the goal long enough. You stay persistent long enough. You will be mega successful. And I think my biggest mistake was I tried to do too many things, right? I tried, because I have like ADHD like crazy and I always have ideas and I want to try different things. Just like stick with one thing. Stick with one thing, lean into the fear, lean into the pain, and just go. That's what I would have told my younger self.
That is an incredible insight. I'm super, super thankful you came. This was inspiring. This was jaw-dropping. I think I learned so much, and I want to thank you again for coming.
My pleasure.
Teaching, and I want to have you back.
All right, let's do it.
2 years, 1 year, 5 years. 5 years seems a lot because in 2 years I want to know how you replaced yourself.
Okay, yeah. I mean, maybe it's going to be 2 years. We'll see. I don't know. Awesome.